Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Ben. What's up, Ben?
Hello.
What's up, Daniel?
Hello.
All right, so I've been requested to wear this hat, so I'm going to do that for a couple of casts. I didn't think people really enjoyed it, but okay. So one thing I want to talk about tonight is the fact that we got some information on the animated Ghostbusters film, which is going to be from the Ghost's point of view.
Yeah.
Sony's animation upcoming Ghostbusters animated film will reportedly unfold from the perspective of a ghost that's coming from the hashtag show. The report marks the first plot detail for the developing project, which was first announced in 2016 and has Clash of Clans short director Fletcher Moole's helmet. Which ghost isn't clear, be it a familiar one like Slimer or a new supernatural entity. Either way, the project is said to harken back to the 1980s animated TV series, The Real Ghostbusters, where Slimer essentially became a member of the team. The animated Ghostbusters film is currently without an official release date. So we do have, I guess this is a picture of it, and we're going to screen share this, or we're going to try to screen share it without having any issues. So here we go. That's the screenshot from the Ghostbusters animated movie, and it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
So,
Love the Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I love it too. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But I have a feeling, and you probably may feel differently, Ben, but I have a feeling that this will not be the Ghostbusters movie. That will mark the anniversary of Ghostbusters. Now, supposedly, Ivan Reitman had said that he's going to try to get out a live-action movie for the anniversary, which I think is in 2019, right? And I don't know if he's going to have a joint movie. I don't know if he's going to have a sequel to the Girls movie. I don't know if he's going to have a whole new Ghostbusters team. But I don't think that the animated movie is going to make it for 2019 to be part of the anniversary. It might be, or maybe it will. Who knows? But I do have a feeling that he's going to try to do something. And whatever it is, we'll be reporting it here. Be it a sequel to the Girls movie, a sequel to the Guys movie, or a sequel of both, or a sequel of neither, we'll report it here. So we still don't have any word on it. Now, we got some news about Maleficent 2, which, let me just talk about that for a minute. Let's see here.
Greetings.
Hey, what's up?
I guess I'm late for whatever this is. This is Everything Show?
Everything Show, yes.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about Star Trek Discovery, but let me just give the news on this thing here, and then we'll continue. Angelina Jolie is set to return for the sequel of Maleficent, which made $758 million originally. So we could always talk about it later on, so that's that. All right, so now I wanted to ask you, you saw Discovery, right?
Yeah, I've seen the first 3 episodes.
Now, I did not see the 3rd episode. I got to see it, but then something went wrong, and I didn't get to see the whole thing. What is your take? First, I want to ask you...
Somebody sent me a streaming link. I originally signed up for the trial. You know, they gave you a free week trial, and you can cancel before they charge you, because it's $6 a month with ads, $8 a month without ads. So I watched the first 2 for free with the free trial, then I canceled my free trial. And then the 3rd episode, somebody sent me a link to a bootleg streaming site, and then I watched the 3rd episode on that. But I didn't really like it. I would give it like a 4.5 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Is it the worst Star Trek series you've ever seen?
It's the worst Star Trek series I've seen, even with episode 3. Because the Klingons look really silly. They don't look like Klingons.
Okay.
And I didn't like some of the character dynamics of the plot. I didn't like the fact that the Michael Brennan, the first officer, she attempted the Vulcan nerve pinch on the
Yeah,
captain.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that it's like, you know, you don't trust your captain, and you know, I don't see how you would have became a Federation Starfleet officer that high in rank. It's in real life, it's really hard to make commander.
Yes.
I don't see how you would have made the rank of commander and just be able to turn on your captain on a turn at a dime. And then it just seemed like a very contrived plot device. I don't know what it is with new Star Trek. You know, like Captain Kirk, he's a flunky cadet. Then he gets promoted to first officer. Then he gets promoted to captain. Then he gets demoted to commander. Then he gets promoted to captain. I mean, it's a really Trek movies and the new Star Trek TV series. It's a new trivial plot device. It's just silly. It's like we want to be darky dark for the sake of darky dark, and that's not what people want. These are dark times right now.
Yes.
And you know, people want something that's more like Next Generation, not something that's like Star Wars. It just doesn't fit with the Star Trek narrative. I didn't like the character Michael Brennan. It makes no sense that she would be Spock's stepsister and we never heard about her before. And you were introduced to a strong new captain. I can't remember her name. I'm really bad with names. But then she gets killed off at the end of episode 2. Sorry, there's spoilers here.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I don't get why Discovery, the USS Discovery, doesn't make an appearance until episode 3.
That blew my mind. I don't know why. That's ridiculous. That should have been the first episode. Then they should have backtracked.
Well, so the Discovery looks okay. It looks like it's a weird looking ship. You know, I saw it in episode 3, but you
can spoil it for me because I didn't see it. But what's with the black labels or black insignia with the Star Trek? I mean, the Federation, the software.
They're a classified scientific vessel.
Oh, so they're a new class.
And that was another thing I didn't like about episode 3. That it's contradicting canon. They say this is in the Prime Universe, but it sure doesn't feel like it.
This looks like more advanced technology.
Well, what they're doing, yeah, it looks more advanced than the original series, and they got holographs and all this stuff. And apparently, the USS Discovery in episode 3. Sorry, there's more spoilers. They're working on Spore. It's really stupid. Spore technology that would allow them to transport across the universe. And Spore drive, like to replace warp drive, they got like organic spores. I'm not kidding. That's literally the plot of episode 3. Michael Brennan is in detention, and she's been stripped of rank, and she's going to a Starfleet detention facility because she's serving life in prison. And then she gets intercepted by the USS Discovery because the shuttlecraft that she is on is conveniently in trouble. So the USS Discovery rescues her shuttlecraft. She gets invited on board, and then she finds out the captain wants to reinstate her as a crew person on Starfleet because she has a lot of skills that could be useful against the Klingons, and she knows quantum physics, and she's basically a scientist that could work in engineering, and she's basically a jack of all trades. He's got to have her. So, but I was like, it doesn't matter if you're really skilled if you don't feel like you can trust somebody because they just committed mutiny. Why would you even bring him on as a crew person?
She's not the first officer then. She's working in engineering, or I mean, what's the
she's
deal?
working in engineering, and it's a classified project, and they're working on spore drive technology. It's as dumb as that. Like, we can beat the Klingons. We're going to develop a new biotech that uses spores to jump
stupid.
hyper dimensions. Yeah, it's just really dumb. And then, so he shows her the spore technology. So for a brief moment, Michael Brennan is on Romulus. For a brief moment, she's on Kronos. For a brief moment, she's on all these other different planets for a split second. And then she gets teleported back to the USS Discovery. And I'm like, well, why would you even need starships then? And this contradicts the canon. If you had such advanced teleporting technology, Why would
What do you need ships for?
Yeah, what do you need ships for? You would just develop maybe small shuttlecraft to protect you from the rigors of space, and you could just transport the whole kind of. I don't know. It just seemed unbelievable based on even theoretical physics, and they're reaching kind of like Abrams does with his crap. I mean, they did the same thing in the Abrams movie, where like you had Khan transporting all the way from Earth to Kronos,
Right.
and it's at least up all the way up until Star Trek Voyager, or even at least all the way up until Star Trek Enterprise, it was based on theoretical physics. But this is getting into fantasy now, and it's just silly and it's dumb. And I don't like the new Klingons. The new Klingons make a brief cameo in Episode 3. There's like a monster on the loose. There's a sister ship to the USS Discovery that everybody's been killed on this sister ship. So they go to investigate. Michael Brannon is there, and there's like this big monster thing that looks like a dog. I guess it's like a bioweapon that the Federation developed, and this goes against the whole thing at the Federation.
Why don't develop bioweapons?
Yeah, but they got it in this episode. They imply it, and then so after this dog-like monster creature kills all the crew of the sister ship, they managed to capture the creature aboard the USS Discovery, but only the captain knows about it, and maybe whoever helped him. And so now he's got this dog creature in his private quarters, hidden behind a force field, and he's like, come out. It's like his pet now or something. It was really, yeah, it's just really.
And they killed the whole crew, and he's treating it like a pet.
Well, I think what he tends to do, he intends to use it as a weapon. But to me, it's like
not like Starfleet at all.
So it's like you got this dog-like monster creature that just killed the crew of an entire ship, and you bring it on and you keep it in your quarters like it's a pet.
That's stupid.
And then
horrible.
And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. Orville feels more like Star Trek to me than this.
Yeah.
I like Orville. Orville's a pretty good show. I know a lot of people criticized it for not being too funny, but I think I understand what...
Brian Braga is writing it, though, with Orville. He used to do Next Generation and all the Star Trek shows.
Well, Orville feels like a sequel to Next Generation.
It is, but it's good, though. I like it.
Yeah, it's like happy and it's positive. And
I love the Orville, man.
Yeah, and Seth MacFarlane was a big fan of Next Generation, and you can tell. And so they put mild humor in there. It's not over the top, but it's still pretty funny. Yeah. I like it. So to me, that's
better than the Star Trek Discovery shit.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Daniel loves it, but I don't. To me, it doesn't feel like Star Trek. They went too darky dark for just darky dark sake, and it just makes no sense to me. I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't. It's not anything that recognizes what I grew up on, and I don't even want to watch it anymore. But Daniel was asking me to watch 3, and I'm like, all right, but whatever I've seen of it, it wasn't really of 3. It wasn't really anything that I would want to continue watching it. It's like you can keep going and going and going. You're not going to get me hooked on it. I'm like,
well, there's no mystery, or I guess the only mystery are the Federation developing bioweapons? They obviously are, because they got this monster-like creature that killed the crew of a ship.
My question is, all the ships are supposed to look completely different, and they're looking like more advanced. So where is the Enterprise ship? Where's all the other ships that are supposed to look like that retro style? Because
it doesn't make sense. They're developing intentional plot holes. I know CBS.
When is the Mirror Mirror episode? Because there's going to be a Mirror Mirror universe episode.
Well, I know CBS for some reason said that it takes place in the Prime universe, but it sure doesn't feel like it. It just everything looks.
But there's going to be a Mirror Mirror episode. They said.
Maybe it's altered timeline, another timeline that we don't know about yet, but I don't know.
But wouldn't that not make sense? Because the first appearance of Mirror Mirror is in, Mirror Mirror in Star Trek, the original series, and then yes, we've had Mirror Mirror episodes, but then we even had it in Enterprise, which made no sense too. So what the hell? What is
Well,
going to happen?
the Mirror episodes in Enterprise were actually pretty good, and they made sense because they were like a prequel to the original Mirror Universe episodes because it
But
was.
didn't they have an advanced spaceship, like a spaceship from Next Generation time that was in the past?
No. You never saw the Mirror episodes from?
I remember it vaguely, the Enterprise one.
Oh, I can tell you, I have a semi-photographic memory for.
I know the girl was she killed Archer's version of it, right?
Episode. They could have easily.
She was the Empress of whatever.
Well, it was a two-part episode. They could have easily edited it together and made an hour-and-a-half movie. It was that good. But the Enterprise in the Mirror Universe. You were freezing up a bit. I wanted to make sure you were still there. The Enterprise in the Mirror Universe encounters the USS Defiant from Kirk's era.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that is it ties into the Tholian episode. You actually get to see what the Tholians look like for the first time because they live in a very hot environment and their ships are not, the environmental controls are not compatible with Earth ships. And so they encounter a ship from the USS Defiant with all the crew dead, and they managed to steal it from the Tholians.
Is it the Defiant or it's the
USS
Defiant? The Reliant or Defiant?
No, the USS Defiant from the original series.
Okay. But
there was more than one
have a ship called Defiant?
Yeah, you can have more than one ship called Defiant because that's later in history. That's just like
Right. I got you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it was the USS Defiant from Kirk's time, and it was kind of a neat tie-in with the original series episode with the Tholians, because it makes that episode more meaningful because it indirectly ties in with the two-part Mirror Universe episode. So they captured USS Defiant, and because its technology is 100 years more advanced than anything else at the time, they're able to destroy any Federation ship. And so Archer conspires a plan to take over Earth, but then he gets killed by the
girlfriend or whatever.
Right? His girlfriend, who now claims to be
the Empress. The Empress.
Yeah, and they leave it on a cliffhanger. They never resolve it, but it ended pretty well. I mean, Archer gets killed, and
she takes over that universe, right?
She takes over. She was a communications officer, but I can't remember her name right off yet.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But yeah, she was the.
But now, did the ship get destroyed?
No, the Defiant
remained in there.
The way they ended the episode, like I said, they ended on a cliffhanger. Archer dies, and then
of that universe.
Of that universe, Archer dies, and then she gets a message from Earth, and she's like, and the admiral of the Terran Empire, because there it's called not Starfleet, it's the Terran Empire.
Right.
Well, it's Starfleet of the Terran Empire, but the admiral of Starfleet in the Mirror Universe communicates with the Defiant. He's like, "Where's Archer? What the devil? What the hell is going on? You gave me all these demands. You told me to surrender, or I would be destroyed." And then she's like, "Oh, Archer's dead now. I'm in charge. You can call me Empress." And then the episode ends on that. And he never.
But you know what? On a technicality, right? It could be revealed that because the past of the Mirror universe was altered, that it altered the Prime universe. Because when Kirk when Kirk encounters that mirror universe, or even before that, maybe they punctured through, right? Mm-hmm. It alters the Prime universe to let's say a Prime universe 2, where the mirror universe had the Federation gets they get their hands on advanced technology in the past, which would explain why all these ships are way advanced that they're supposed to be. So it could be that the mirror universe.
Well, Enterprise took place
100 years before this one, right?
Yeah,
or 80 years.
The thing with Enterprise, it was that whole series took place in the temporal Cold War, So technically, that whole timeline had already been altered anyway.
No, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that now you can honestly say that because of the events of that Mirror Mirror universe, that created this new Prime universe because the ships are more advanced.
But it wouldn't explain why the Klingons look silly.
No, but it would explain why the ships are next generation style ships, advanced.
Yeah, that could explain that. I agree, and it would be an older timeline. But the CBS said that it wasn't an older timeline. They said this was the Prime universe.
Well, it is the Prime universe that's altered, probably.
Okay.
They could do it like there's no way they're going to explain why the ships look like Next Generation and Voyager time. Because are you going to show the classic ships? No, they're not. So what could happen is that around after Enterprise, there is another encounter of the Mirror Mirror universe where the Federation, our Federation, gets a hold of that technology somehow and develop all the ships in advance in the past, which by the time it gets to Next Generation or whatever, it'll be even way more advanced than it is then. So that's why all the ships...
possible.
So, and maybe, due to the events of a Mirror Mirror universe, it altered the Klingons by some virus or something. You don't know. Maybe stuff happened, and that's why we got different Klingons. That's why.
I don't know. I don't like the main character Michael Brannon because she seems really.
Well, they should just say that it's the Prime Universe 2. You know, based on the Mirror Mirror universe.
The only interesting and different thing with Star Trek Discovery is instead of it being from a captain or a ship's perspective, the entire series is from Michael Brannon's perspective.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
Well, I don't really like her character because she's a very contrived character. I mean, you would think you would have heard of the stepsister Spock.
She's an illogical character because she was trained with Vulcan, and on episode 2, she's acting like Vulcan. But the first episode, which was the present one, she's completely human with hardly any Vulcan tendencies. And you can't basically judge a situation that the Vulcans went through to basically be the solution how you deal with the Klingons.
Well, it just seemed like a contrived plot device.
Nobody's going to Vulcan neck the captain.
It just seemed like a very contrived character with built-in plot devices.
Didn't she say she was like family? But then you're gonna did Riker ever like attack Picard after 7 years serving with them? No, she served with her.
Well, and another thing that violated canon was Sarek, Spock's father, was able to communicate with her across the galaxy.
Yeah, what's up with that? The Vulcan mind meld, is that powerful?
Because he had a Vulcan mind meld, he was able to communicate with her in the universe.
Yeah, are you an omnipotent being? Like you could do stuff like that? No.
Yeah, it contradicts canon, and it seems absurd.
It's beyond canon now.
And then I understand the captain wanting to put her in, to have her court-martialed and put her in the brig, but then when she breaks out of the brig and gets on the bridge of the ship, the captain's like, "Oh, come with me to capture."
Yeah, that's very convenient that he knew she was in that ship that he was saving.
Yeah, right? It's just like,
that's
come
weird.
with me. Even though you assaulted me during time of war, and I put you in the brig. Now I'm going to trust you to come assault the Klingon ship and try to capture the spiritual.
You know what's weird too? That when all the prisoners were in the ship and there's one Starfleet person, that's not believable. You have one they're going to just stay where they are, and this one's going to pilot the ship. And they're not going to attack her. They're not going to do anything. Like they're just going to let her. Like really? That doesn't make any sense. You would have guards, but they didn't have the money probably to have guards. But you would have guards with those prisoners. You wouldn't just have.
I agree. I
mean, that's
the movie seems to be done on a limited budget. There's a lot of blue screening. I'm sorry, I could tell there was a lot of blue screening.
It doesn't. You know what's funny? Next Generation graphics look better than when these ships popped in there. It was like pew, 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 pew. It was like
I did a whole video criticizing about that. It was like something out of Flash Gordon.
It was so big. pew, pew. It was so fake. I said it on my Everything show too. I was like, this is the fakest I've ever seen it.
Well,
And it's supposed to be with more money.
If you understand, like, Next Generation was solidly based on theoretical physics. It was a lot of stuff that hadn't been proven yet, but it was theoretical. You know, futuristic warfare should have looked like the movie First Contact. That was really, you know, you have energy weapons like phasers, which is energy, and photon torpedoes, and so. To me, futuristic battles should have looked more like the movie Star Trek First Contact than Flash Gordon. But they look kind of like Flash Gordon, like machine gun lasers. It's like
it was just weird. And again, whatever I seen from even the third episode, it was just weird that they just left the prisoner alone. The prisoner's with this one girl that she winds up getting. Now, if Discovery couldn't save that, I'm sure they had to save her because they saved the ship. They must have saved the crewman that got knocked out into space.
Well, and then episode 3 has a really weird character. She's actually very attractive. I don't know her name. Episode 3 introduced an autistic character that's a bridge officer.
Is it time travel?
Was it?
There isn't.
I thought she was just. I didn't take her to be autistic.
Well, it was her roommate. Well, she talked about she had special needs. They didn't directly say it, but she's talking like somebody with Asperger's. She's talking really fast.
You know how that doesn't make any sense? You know how that doesn't make any sense? It's in the far future that they would have the technology to cure that.
I would think.
How would that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't come out and say this is a character with autism.
No, but that just doesn't make any sense.
They implied it because she talks about how I have special needs, and she fits all the tropes and stereotypes of somebody of autistic.
This show is too political.
Yeah, she's got allergies. She's allergic to this and allergic to that.
But the technology should be within that allergic to anything. It's different. It's hundreds of years in the future. I mean, Bones was able to inject a cancer patient in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, and cure her of cancer by giving her an injection. I mean, if you could cure cancer in that time period, you could cure allergies. It's so stupid.
I don't know. It just seemed like a very contrived character. I get they're trying to portray.
Doesn't make any sense.
Portray autistic people, because autistic people are not retarded.
No, but in that time period, that could be cured. That's the weirdest thing.
I took it as the way she says whenever she gets nervous, she does this. She wasn't really.
She mentioned something about she mentioned something that she has special needs. So the way it was written in the script of episode 3, to me, it's pretty obvious she's an autistic character.
But that doesn't make any sense because I agree. The technology they should be able to have. I mean, they could cure cancer. Why couldn't they cure that? That's ridiculous.
I agree. I just saw a lot of different absurdities.
You have the most advanced technology that time period shouldn't have with the ships, but your medical technology went down like a couple of centuries. That doesn't make any sense.
They also have 2 gay people too, and I'm not knocking gay people, but there's a lot of people out there. Well, if they could cure autism, they could possibly cure homosexuality.
Well, that's not that you can't.
I know. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there who probably think that.
That it's just a thing about that's just whatever. I mean,
It was just
So you're not a fan, obviously.
I'm not a fan. I thought episode 3 was poorly written too because they get on this sister ship that looks exactly like Discovery, and I can't remember the name of the ship. And they don't show any dead bodies. You don't see.
Well, they do. They show those mangled-looking things that were.
Oh, they showed those mangled-looking things, but there was very little time spent on the ship, and everything is really dark and hard to see. It just looked like it was a bottle show done on a limited budget. That's all I'm saying.
Like I said, I wasn't a fan of the first 2. This one still had its problems, but I still liked the third episode more than I did.
Oh, yeah, I can respect that. I'm not one of these fanboys of Star Trek where you have to agree with me on everything. I respect people's dissenting opinions. That's what makes us interesting.
I still think this should have been the premiere episode, and and the first 2 episodes should have been done more or less as a
flashback,
more as a log entry. So you could,
okay.
they could have done it that way, and they would have had probably a better. Even though, like I said, and you said that it had its problems, it would have been done better. They would have done a lot better if they had numbered this 3rd episode as the primary one, and then had the first 2 episodes set up as looking back at Michael's or somebody's log entry.
Yeah, and I don't like that they're only going to do 12 episodes as a streaming only show, because that's, you can tell it's done on a very tight budget, so it's going to limit what kind of stories they could tell. I guess if you could blue screen it in, then I guess so. I mean, some of the special effects look good. Mm-hmm. Some of it looked obviously blue screened. I agree with Joe. I think that the special effects from Next Generation looked better.
Yeah,
because they were using models that were like 12 feet long. They could do cast shadows and lighting.
Mm-hmm.
They did star patterns, and made it look very photorealistic. And there's something missing when you have an over reliance on CGI. Yes. And I hated all the lens flare.
Oh.
It's like they borrowed a lot from J.J. Abrams. I hate lens flare. You had lens flare in your film that meant you were an amateur filmmaker because you didn't know how to angle your camera right, or you didn't know how to set up your lighting right.
Yeah,
but now it's cool to have lens flare, and it's like, God, do I need to wipe off my glasses? Or oh no, that's just the way it is. It looks crappy like that. That's just my opinion. I don't like lens flare. I like to be able to see things.
They're trying to make it seem as though you're actually there in space, and the lens flare is coming off from whatever you're seeing outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of lens flare either.
I like Orville though. I've seen all the way up to episode 4.
Yes. Orville's great.
Yes, or like I said, Orville's how Star Trek should have been made.
I mean, it feels like Star Trek, but it makes sense because they got one of the writers from Star Trek.
And you got Frank's doing this next episode anyway, so.
Who's doing the next episode?
Riker.
Jonathan Frakes.
Producing.
Okay, that's great. Yep. That's awesome. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Steampunk. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ben. Take care. Bye for now.
Sure.
All right.